Hello everybody. In this video we will try to understand Magha nakshatra. Magha nakshatra is a Ketu nakshatra ranging from 0 degrees of Leo to 13 degree 20 minutes of Leo. Magha is the brightest and largest amongst the nakshatras and is represented in the night sky by a sickle shaped group of stars in the initial part of the zodiac sign Leo. So the brightest among all the stars is Regulus. It's called Regulus. So every nakshatra consists of some stars. Similarly, Magha nakshatra also consists of some stars. In these stars, the brightest one is called as the Regulus, or we generally also say Alpha Leonis, and its visible magnitude is 1.41. So when the visible magnitude is lesser, the brightness is more. There is an inverse relationship between visual magnitude and the brightness. So Regulus is one of the brightest stars in the night sky, and it is also known as a little king, or we say little sun. Its companions, which comprise the remaining part of this whole nakshatra, they just lie above the brightest star Regulus, and they are given different names, like, so the brightest one is Alpha Leonis, and the remaining stars are like Eta Leonis, Zeta Leonis, Mu Leonis, Epsilon Leonis, Lambda Leonis, Kappa Leonis, right? These are the other stars. So clearly you can see there are 7 stars in the Magha nakshatra. There are totally 7 stars, but we generally identify the brightest one. So the brightest one is Alpha Leonis. It is also called as little king or little sun or Regulus. So this whole Magha nakshatra looks like a royal throne in the night sky. So the meaning of Magha, if you observe, it translates into a mighty, the beneficent, the great, the magnificent, the most important, the bountiful. Like that, Magha has different names. It has a variety of meanings and feelings. So it's really Magha energy people are really, they are really mighty, they are beneficent, they are the greatest people, the Magha influenced people. The Magha energy must be more, right, in the Kundalini. So it's not like just the moon is in Magha. It must have enough strength. The strength of the planet must also be analyzed in order to comment on this. But any person having this having a very good strengthened planet in the nakshatra of Magha is said to be a mighty person, is a great person. Ultimately, because of him, the humanity will get more benefits. He is like a king almost. So Magha's main symbol, if you observe, it's a royal throne. As a matter of detail, one can say it is a royal chamber with a royal throne, basically. So this symbolism immediately can reflect a symbol of royalty, a symbol of power, status, honor. So this is all the energy you can perceive from the Magha nakshatra. So if a very good planet is under the influence of Magha nakshatra, that planet can absorb all these qualities like royalty, the power, status, honor, and everything. And in the antardasha or dasha of that particular planet, the native can get all of this, the power, status, honor, everything. But the planet must be very good. It must have should have a good strength. It must not be a malefic planet, right? Malefic with respect to the ascendant I am talking about. It's nothing but the functionally, it should not be a functionally a malefic. If such a planet is placed in the Magha nakshatra in a native's horoscope, then that particular native has a very heavy chances of getting this honor, power, status, everything. So the bottom line of this symbolism lies in one word. It's nothing but the achievement. They are the achievers, basically. After the struggles and tribulations of the previous nakshatra, Aslesha, it's something like it's now time for reaping rewards. So Aslesha is a kind of turbulences and struggles. Aslesha energy has that kind of energy, whereas the Magha energy is a kind of achiever energy, so achieving something. Especially in the material world, Magha really gives lot of rewards, lot of benefits to the native through power, position, authority, and through self-knowledge. So Magha is really a beneficent energy. See, most of us identify or attach our sense or ourself to our minds and bodies compared to the souls. We don't think in terms of soul energy, we think in terms of bodily energy or mind energy. See, Magha is the first nakshatra which relates to the individualization process. It represents all that we mean when we say I, the materialism. Magha is that I, my mind, my body, right? So Magha is fully materialistic in nature. So the soul uses the body and mind as its identity, right? So the mind and intellect, however, are given the task to understand our true identities as eternal, everlasting souls. So mind and body are given these responsibilities of identifying the soul energy but to the physical world, soul is being identified by the mind and by the body. So Magha is to the level of mind and body, you can say it is the I. So there is no greater accomplishment with the discovery of the self, of course, but the individualization process is very much enhanced with Magha energy. So in the material aspect, Magha can bestow all kinds of worldly honors, prestige, power, achievements. So it's good for the material plane. It's not about the spirituality. Magha energy is always about the materialistic energy. See, in many cases, Magha can bestow all the achievements as a result. Uh, it's purely through some kind of uh, hereditary mean or some kind of succession. So because of that, it is represented by that royal throne. A royal throne comes in succession generally. So after father, son will become the king. So this Magha energy gives that kind of ancestral property or the succession property more. It has the natural ability uh, to give such an energy, such kind of materialism through succession. It's not through so much of hard work also. In ancient times, you can clearly understand it was very much implicit that the son of the king will be the king, and the son of a barber is another barber in the society. So even though things appear different today, they are still pretty much the same if we clearly understand the behavior of Magha energy. So Magha energy, let us say if somebody is having ninth house related energy in the Magha, and if there is a prominent planet in the horoscope, then in the Antardasha or in the Mahadasha of that particular planet, the native may get the knowledge from the father or the ancestral knowledge very easily. It comes very easily to that native. So Magha's throne denotes all that we have inherited, whether it be anything, like it can be money, it can be genes, roots, wealth, or knowledge or status through our parents and ancestors. So Magha is therefore the nakshatra which is most closely related to our sense of identity. It is more materialistic in nature, more individualistic in nature, more related to the ancestors, right? It mainly relates to who we are and where we are coming from, right? So that kind of identity it has. There is no spirituality here. There is no spirituality, nothing. The physical things, mainly the materialistic things, right? So the deity of Magha nakshatra, by this time you can guess, it's the ancestors, the pitris. So it comes no surprise because the world of ancestors controls Magha, right? So Magha means we always talk about the achievement, the status, right, from our ancestors, that we can easily get from our ancestors. So that is in the physical level, that is actual identity for us, right? So even without ever knowing or acknowledging it, we get our ancestors things. So ancestors worship was another one of the common things we observe in our ancient civilizations also. So our ancients were very much grateful to their ancestors, even in the rural areas, even in the cities, right? So many places you can observe the ancestor worship. That is a very serious matter in some of the cultures. So in these days also you can observe, especially in the Brahmin families, uh, so they do some kind of rituals to please their ancestors. So the modern science of genetics has made it clear that most of our abilities and capabilities are dependent upon our genetic code, and that this genetic code is basically a sort of free gift from our ancestors. So in the same way, Magha is known for bestowing liberal favors without any expectation of return. So it is basically a nakshatra which deals with the past. We should, however, keep in mind that our ancestors are not frozen remains of the past, but are actually alive in one of the universal realms. So according to the Puranas, uh, Puranas, they tell us that there is a heavenly realm called Pitruloka, or the world of the ancestors. So this is the world where our ancestors generally go after our, means everybody goes there after the physical death. So it is sort of an intermediary station where souls meet their ancestors and rest for a while before returning to earth for another life or moving on to another locus. So everybody goes to the Pitruloka. So this world of the ancestors finds vivid descriptions in so many ancient cultures, especially among the present day Native American Indian and some of the tribes, right? So this world of the dead or world of the ancestors is supposed to overlook our affairs on the physical earthly realm, and in some cases you can say they even try to communicate with the physical beings living on the earth. So Magha is a nakshatra relating to both to our identity in the present life and our after death journey also. So it mainly talks about the heritage. So heritage comes very easily without much effort. So that kind of heritage, right? The royal throne. So some of the words like magnificent, manner, measure, mayor, master, magic, because the things come magically, magnanimous, right? So these are all can represent the Magha energy. So they have, so these words you can clearly see they have the complete Magha's energy. So it is Magha's job to shape the present using the past. So wherever this nakshatra is placed in a horoscope, one will experience the positive effects of one's past karmas. So this may manifest as opportunities or favor from those in high positions. So these favors are very sudden and based on impulse from the ancestral energy, you can say. So it has the energy also a bit fierceful. Magha energy has some kind of fierceness. It's because of it's the fierce aspect of Ketu, which is uh, right. Clearly, you can see Magha is a Ketu nakshatra. Ketu is generally most fierce among all the planets, so it can be as fierce as the midsummer, mid-afternoon desert, uh, you can say. So fierceness, as we know, is also associated with authority at some level. So authority can either foster magnanimity or produce the merciless tyrants who are blinded by power and authority. So it is a human nakshatra which brings out the more worldly human side of the things. So this is very much a worldly nakshatra which is interested in human affairs. So Magha, we always talk about the materialistic things, but Ketu is a kind of spiritual planet. But then how we relate Ketu with Magha, right? So Ketu is known to us as a separative planet which disassociates one from the worldly ties, but through this nakshatra it promotes the involvement in mundane affairs for discharging one's worldly duties. So it brings out the materially active side of Ketu, which is very concerned about social status, prominence, and discharging of one's worldly duties. So it is mainly related to discharging of worldly duties, you can say. So once you perform your physical activities, physical duties, then only you can be free of it, and ultimately you will attain moksha, right? So this is why its pitfall lies in making one over ambitious in one's material pursuits. See, however, when working through its higher principle, this particular nakshatra has a high degree of idealism, even when surrounded by worldly attainments. So Ketu is an idealistic planet when functioning in its solar aspect. So Ketu is also a naturally rebellious planet, and consequently this nakshatra is directly related to all types of revolts against authority. So it's completely idealistic, you can say. The idealism is also the concept here. That's why Ketu became the lord of this particular nakshatra. So you cannot find anyone more idealistic than Ketu. So the energy is something like by achieving the worldly things, one can attain a kind of idealism, right? So in that sense, Ketu is made the a lot of this particular nakshatra. So this particular nakshatra connected to the sustenance and maintenance aspect of nature. Its primary impulse is to maintain established traditions, organizations and civilizations, the heritage basically. So this is usually the function of those in positions of authority whom this nakshatra represents. So protecting the heritage very easily. So natives with Magha ascendant, so the ascendant falling in the Magha nakshatra or strong Magha influence are easy to spot because of their big noses. So Magha people have middle stature and lion-like top-heavy bodies. They have arrogant mannerisms, of course, which make them misunderstood in general. Their power lies in covering up weaknesses through reservedness. So they usually align their selves with their ancestral lineage and derive pride through a sense of belonging. They are usually magnanimous to those below their stations in life. So following a moral and ethical code is important for their inner peace of mind. So Magha natives usually have a strong concern for their continuation of their family lineage through progeny. So they have great expectations of their progeny and want them to bring pride and renown to the family. In the universal scheme of things, Magha actually relates to the power of the astral body to cut its ties with the physical body. So its symbolism has warning above and the death process below. So it's something like it's nothing but endings, all endings like physical death and new beginnings which arise as a result. So Magha guides the souls to the Pitrulokas, the world of ancestors after one's death. That's why Magha is basically a facilitator in change of state. It's a facilitator. It has the facilitating energy and the change of state. So it's an active nakshatra. It has a very fiery nature, very furious because of its lordship with Ketu. So that brings the more activeness and dynamism also to this nakshatra energy. It is Magha's striving for a sense of achievement and glory which makes it pursue an active way of life. So that is the Magha energy. So and in the next video we will try to discuss more on Magha energy. Thanks for watching this video.